Think 90s health food was all sensible and wholesome? Think again. Number 1. Fat-free cookies. Back in the day, the words fat-free hit people in the 90s like a divine message from the supermarket heavens, and suddenly cookies were being treated like tiny wellness discs. During the 90s, brands like SnackWells exploded because the logic at the time was incredibly simple. If fat is bad, then removing fat must make dessert basically responsible behavior. Naturally, nobody stopped to ask what got added back in to make those cardboard sadness rounds taste edible. The answer was usually sugar, refined flour, and the kind of processing that could make a chemistry set blush. So people ate more of them, often a lot more, because the label felt morally supportive. Imagine doing this today and calling your fourth cookie medicinal. Absolute menace. Number 2. Flavored yogurt. Back then, yogurt had one of the strongest health halos of the entire 90s refrigerator. During the 90s, if a cup had pictures of fruit on it, and maybe mentioned calcium, probiotics, or active cultures in cheerful lettering, people acted like they were basically spooning up longevity. The problem at the time, and still often now, was that many flavored yogurts were loaded with added sugar, candy bits, syrupy fruit mixtures, and dessert-level sweetness. So yes, you got some protein and calcium, but you also got a breakfast that could behave like a polite little sundae wearing a gym membership. Back in the day, especially with low-fat versions, manufacturers often removed richness and compensated with sweetness. It was health theater with a foil lid, a dairy-based magic trick, if you will. Number 3. Granola bars. During the 90s, granola bars somehow convinced an entire generation that being rectangular meant being healthy. Back in the day, they lived in lunchboxes, office drawers, gym bags, and glove compartments like little emergency bricks of misplaced optimism. At the time, oats, honey, nuts, and nature-adjacent packaging made them seem wholesome, rugged, and outdoorsy, even if the closest many of us got to the wilderness was the school parking lot. The catch was that plenty of 90s granola bars were bound together with sugars, syrups, chocolate coatings, marshmallow bits, or enough sweeteners to make them function more like candy bars with excellent public relations. Some were low in fiber, easy to overeat, and weirdly tiny, which only encouraged a second one. Because obviously, 2 healthy bars become double healthy. Science, apparently. Number 4. Muffins, especially bran muffins. Back in the 90s, muffins enjoyed a truly ridiculous level of respectability. During the 90s, if something contained bran, raisins, or the color brown, people treated it like a constitutional amendment to health. Coffee shop muffins and supermarket muffins were sold as smart breakfast choices, but many of them were basically cupcakes that had gone to one seminar about fiber and never stopped talking about it. At the time, these things could be enormous, packed with refined flour, sugar, oil, and calories, dense enough to keep a small village emotionally committed till noon. Even bran muffins, the serious-looking ones, often came with a sweet load that cancelled out their saintly image. Back then, portion sizes were also sneaky. One muffin was not a modest snack. It was a handheld brick of breakfast diplomacy. Number 5. Fruit juice. During the 90s, fruit juice was practically liquid virtue. Back then, a tall glass of orange juice at breakfast felt like something a responsible sitcom parent would pour while solving life in 22 minutes. The messaging at the time focused heavily on vitamins, especially vitamin C, which made people forget that many juices were concentrated sources of sugar without the fiber that whole fruit normally brings to the table. And then there were fruit drinks pretending very aggressively to be close relatives of actual fruit. In the 90s, bright cartons, sunny orchards on the packaging, and words like natural did a lot of heavy lifting. A small glass could be fine, sure, but many people treated juice like unlimited hydration with a moral glow. It was basically dessert in a breakfast costume. Very efficient costume, to be fair. Number 6. Veggie chips. Back in the day, veggie chips were one of the finest examples of 90s nutritional rebranding. During the 90s, just putting the word veggie on a bag made people feel like they had transcended ordinary snacking and entered a more enlightened era. You could be on the couch in front of the TV, inhaling crunchy sticks, and still believe vegetables had somehow signed off on the experience. At the time, many of these snacks were still fried, heavily salted, starch-based, and only loosely connected to actual vegetables beyond coloring, powder, or branding. Some were basically potato chips in a clever disguise, which is honestly impressive from a marketing standpoint. Back then, the crunch sounded healthy, the colors looked healthy, and the bag said healthy adjacent things. The vegetables themselves were probably somewhere off screen, filing a complaint. Number 7. Frozen diet meals. During the 90s, frozen diet meals were sold like tiny trays of disciplined excellence. Back then, brands promised portion control, low fat, and calorie awareness, with the confidence of a late-night infomercial and the flavor profile of damp paperwork. At the time, people genuinely believed these boxed meals were a gold standard of healthy eating because they were measured, branded, and featured vegetables positioned very strategically in the photo. But many were high in sodium, low in satisfaction, and packed with additives to preserve texture and taste after their long, icy exile. The result was often a meal that left people hungry again 15 minutes later, which is a fun little loophole if your plan is to eat twice. In the 90s, diet culture loved anything with rules, even if the food itself tasted like emotional compromise. Number 8. Pretzels. Back in the day, pretzels became the snack of choice for people trying to be good in the 90s without experiencing joy. During the 90s, because they were lower in fat than potato chips, pretzels got promoted like they were some kind of crunchy spiritual upgrade. And yes, at the time, less fat often meant they were seen as a safer option in the fat-phobic logic of the era. But many pretzels were made from refined flour, low in fiber, easy to overeat, and loaded with sodium. Nutritionally, they could hit fast and disappear just as quickly, leaving hunger to boomerang right back. Back then, people would stand at parties clutching a bowl of pretzels like they were making heroic sacrifices for wellness. Imagine proudly choosing the driest snack in the room and expecting applause. Ruthless times. Number 9. Rice cakes. During the 90s, rice cakes were the official edible sound effect of diet culture. Back then, they were praised for being light, low-calorie, and about as emotionally comforting as packing foam. At the time, their airy texture made them seem harmless, almost noble, like you were eating restraint itself. But that same lightness often meant they were not very filling, and plain versions offered little protein, little fat, and not much fiber to keep you satisfied. So what happened in the 90s? People added sugary toppings, nut spreads in heroic quantities, or ate several in one sitting because one alone felt like a suggestion. Rice cakes weren't evil, obviously, but their healthy reputation was wildly inflated. They were less a complete snack and more a crunchy coaster with branding. Absolute icon of underwhelming ambition. Number 10. Fat-free salad dressing. Back in the 90s, even salad dressing got drafted into the great anti-fat campaign. During the 90s, fat-free dressing sounded like the final boss of healthy eating, because now your salad could be pure virtue from bowl to fork. The issue at the time was that many fat-free dressings made up for lost flavor with sugar, corn syrup, gums, starches, and a chemistry lab level of enthusiasm. Some also made salads less satisfying, which is impressive considering lettuce was already doing most of the heavy emotional lifting. And there's the irony, a little fat can actually help with absorption of certain nutrients from vegetables. So back in the day, people sometimes turned a decent salad into a sweet, gloopy compromise in the name of wellness. The 90s really looked at ranch and said, no, make it weirder. Which of these 90s healthy foods fooled you the hardest back then? Did we miss any legendary nutrition scams from the 90s? Drop them in the comments and tell us what we should cover next. If you want to see more of this, make sure to subscribe. See you in the next video. Goodbye.